Hello. Today we're going to be learning Likkutei Torah Daf Samach Ches. We are learning the end of the Maimerim Imana offer Yaakov Misper Sreva Yisrael and an explanation on that. So the pasuk literally means who can count the dust of Yaakov and who can enumerate the Reva of Yisrael, which can either be read to mean a four of Yisrael or a fourth of Yisrael. So we want to understand what that means. We want to understand what it means to count the Jewish people, because on the one hand we have this idea of the Jewish people being like the sand of the sea, which means that they can be counted. There's the mespar kachol, we are like the count of sand. On the other hand, we have this idea of being uncountable. So the Talmud asks this question based on a pasuk in Hosea, and the answer the Talmud offers is that when we fulfill God's will, we get this uncountability quality, and when we don't, we remain countable. So we want to understand this. We want to understand what exactly the complement is to say that one can't be counted. And to do that, we first want to understand what it means to be compared to sand. So sand is dirt that is on the edge of the water, the Alter Rebbe explains, and the water pulls the moisture out of the sand, and this allows the sand to be dry enough to be broken up into individual parts, individual pieces. So we have this idea of water and the sand bordering it. Now, the water, one of the places that we have water in Tanakh is this Yam Shel Shlema, which was a basin that was in the base of English, the Shlomo Melech built, that was full of water that the Kohanim could go to mikvah in, and it was supported by 12 metal oxen that were metal statues. And so the Kabbalistically, this piece, this mikvah was seen as is seen as a metaphor for creation. You have the water, which is the life, which is divine energy, and it's separated from coming to earth by these 12 oxen. And so water becomes life, and the separation becomes becomes the barrier to that life coming down. And this comes back to the idea of the sand, that the sand is on the banks of the water, and by being on the banks of the water, it gains individuality, it gains diversity. And so we live in a world, we live in the sand, right? In that we live in the part of creation which is separate from God, or perceives to be separate from God. And because of that separation, we feel our own diversity, and we feel our own individuality. Now, what is the complement that we are part of the count? So what the Alter Rebbe explains is that the idea of counting is saying that we have control over that count, meaning that from God's perspective, there is no counting. From God's perspective, everything is one. We are in this world where we are forced to look from the perspective of countability. And what the pasuk is saying, what Bilam is saying, is that the Jewish people are tapped into this broader reality where they are able to see how the counting is meaningless. And this is the idea of the second part of the pasuk, Misper Sreva Yisrael, that the count of the fourth of the Jewish people. So this 4 was explained in the beginning of in the previous page to be either connecting the world with God's will, or serving God with our thought, speech, action, and will. But either way, it's the idea of bringing that revelation into the world, meaning into the world of counting, into the world of godlessness. We're bringing this revelation of God, and this is but this is only the lower service. This is the lower perspective where we are acknowledging the world's existence. We're acknowledging the existence of creation, and then trying to bring God into it. But the higher perspective is that of Torah, that Torah is not bound by time and space, which is why I'm able to learn about, when I learn about something, it's not, I don't only have to learn about a seasonal Torah, but I can learn I can learn and fulfill the mitzvah of Torah by I can learn something that is not necessarily relevant today and fulfill the mitzvah through that. And this is where the first part of the pasuk comes in. Mimana afar Yaakov, who can count the dust of Yaakov? Because dust, unlike sand, which is dry and therefore can be broken up into particles, dust is one piece, and there truly is no idea of counting when it comes to dust. And so we need to serve God both in the sand way, where we remove the count, where we assert that the sand can't be counted, and we have to serve God in the dust way, which is through the Torah, where we're truly one with God. Now, the beer goes into these ideas for more at length, and the main points that are discussed are that the difference between sand and dirt is the difference between atzilus and biyah. That in biyah there's creations that are distinct and separate, whereas in atzilus the creations are all one. But what the point of the mimer is that there's something that happens when atzilus comes to biyah that creates in biyah the possibility that things can be uncountable. In other words, the structure of creation is such that the infinity of God comes from Atzilus and goes into Biyah in some sense, in a hidden sense, but that can be revealed to reveal the hidden quality of Biyah where of uncountability. So unlike in the analogy where the reason that we can't count sand is that it's just a very, very difficult task. In creation, in Biyah, there truly is an infinite number of permutations and combinations of creations, and that is a divine quality. That is a quality of the Ein Sof. That's a quality that we gain from Atzilus.